Easter greetings to you, my viewers and subscribers. This is Easter, and I want to talk about what transpired yesterday on the 29th of March 2018 in the High Court before Justice Odunga. But this being Easter, I want to draw a parallel between what happened yesterday with what happened those 2,000 so years ago, when it is said the Jews asked Pontius Pilate to release, as was custom during Passover, the criminal called Barabbas instead of Jesus Christ, and that they should crucify Jesus Christ. Yesterday in court, Justice Odunga had two sets of people. He was to release one and convict another group. He chose to convict Kenyans and set free Matiang'i and his team, just like Pontius Pilate released Barabbas and allows the Jews to crucify Jesus Christ. I know there are many Kenyans who are annoyed. I can't hide it. I was equally annoyed. Almost the same way I felt when Justice Apondi released or gave Chomli, the Delamere kid, a very light sentence for killing an African like game in his big tract of land. Now, there were people in court yesterday, senior lawyers, Dr. Manyora, James Orengo, Harvey, Nduvi, and many other senior lawyers, trying to convince Justice Odunga, aka Pontius, to crucify Matiang'i, send him to jail, with Orengo asking that for every breach, for every contempt, and there were I think about 5 of them, that the judge should give 6 months for each, and that these fellows should be sent to committee, maximum security prison. Perhaps Orengo had forgotten what Gogi Wadhiongo said many years ago, that when you hear a prison is called maximum security prison, it is the maximum security to allow those who have stolen property to enjoy their property by keeping those who would be questioning inside those jails. It is for people who want to peddle impunity, people who want to show their power, to enjoy that power with all the impunity. And anybody like Miguna who questions will have to be locked in a toilet and then deported. I don't know why James Orengo forgot this. Now, this is normal. But my advice, as usual, to the leaders of this country and to Matiang'i, my friend, if you see impunity, ukiona mtu anaitwa impunity, toroka. Run away from impunity. After all, you cannot be as big as you imagine you are. How big can you be when you are big in a small third world country where people die from diarrhea and from hunger, where people sleep or earn less than $1 per day, in a country where 50% of the population goes to bed hungry many times? Your bigness is really not bigness. How can you be big as a top cop with a big title, Inspector General, but you are heading a demoralized police force, a police force that is overworked and underpaid, a police service of policemen and women who work and live in deplorable conditions? How can you claim to be a top immigration official when it is claimed that our borders are porous? Many people in this country, it is said or claimed, have national identification papers and passports. How can you claim to be a top immigration official, big man indeed, when we see foreigners doing manual work on projects like road construction? We see foreigners driving trucks. Who gave them work permits? So really, you could be big, but not as big as you are. You are a good person. Please just live like a good person. So I know many people were annoyed because they were expecting these gentlemen to be jailed for contempt of court, for impunity, for subjecting Miguna to very inhuman conditions. The court was packed by not just top lawyers, there was also Professor Mutua, there was the top businessman Jimmy Wanjigi, and the Baba was also present, signifying the importance that Kenyans were attaching to that sentencing process. So I know and I am with you Kenyans as you are annoyed. But upon reflection, I realized Judge Odunga, a very intelligent judge, in school he was called a chopist, or he was a chopist. Those kind of students who score A, and as a teacher I have taught such students, you hold your red pen, reading the essay, hoping to correct some point, even a punctuation mark, you don't see any until the last full stop, and then you award 20 out of 20. That's the kind of student Odunga was. So I asked myself, could he have said the things he said, that it will be futile to commit these people to jail, there will be nobody to jail them, there will be nobody to arrest them? Did he really mean it? The answer is no. Such an intelligent judge didn't mean it. And that's why I invite Orengo and other Kenyans to look at what Justice Odunga said. First, that it is possible, and indeed it looked necessary, that other Kenyans should bring charges against the three individuals for other contempt charges. That will bring them out, smoke them out for who they are. He also did say that these gentlemen, by their acts of omission and commission, and by dint of Article 10 of the Constitution and Chapter 6 of the Constitution, that these gentlemen are not fit to hold public office, but that was not the forum. That was not before his court. So Orengo should seize this. He was actually telling Orengo and his team, move to court, have these gentlemen declared unfit to hold office. But there's something else finally that he said, that you must sit down and listen. He said it without saying it, that the jails in this country have been built for you and I, and not for the high and mighty. What was he saying? He was calling Kenyans to action. He's inviting Kenyans to be mad and angry. And therefore, I applaud Justice Odunga. The way he went about this business will end in impunity in this country. Because even in their moments of retirement, when they are somewhere in their house, in the quiet of their house, the three gentlemen would look at what this guy said, watch the video, and they will realize he was telling them, you are not as big as you think. I also want to add, as I finish, that change in society is brought when the common man realizes that the people he has not just respected but feared and revered are ordinary mortals. It happened in Europe in the Middle Ages and thereabouts, when the commoners realized the men they were holding in such a high esteem and fear were just human beings after all. They even rebelled against them. They refused to give farm service, farm labor, unless it was paid for. And for the first time, the master and his wife were found milking their cows, tending their pigs. It happened in this country after the Second World War, when Kenyans who went to the Second World War realized the Mzungu they had thought was a god was actually an ordinary human being who could writhe in pain, who could die, who could cry. And when they came back, that is when the struggle, the organized struggle for independence began. And the people now are able to face the Mzungu. I'm therefore advising our leaders in this country, please, do not make people disturb the status quo, disturb the equilibrium that allows society to move smoothly where people respect their leaders. Don't force people into not respecting you.